Welcome back to another Fridays with Fidelman. I'm Cheryl Fidelman, the Conscious Codependence coach, and today I'm going to talk about the invisibility of codependence. And I've said many times before in my videos that there are many different habits and behaviors that may fall under the codependent category. We don't all have all of them. Some of us have the one where we feel invisible. We feel not heard, not seen, not understood, and we're looking to other people to hear us and understand us. And so a lot of us codependents in many relationships, mainly intimate relationships, but it could be with our family or our bosses or coworkers, family members, many of us have the experience of feeling invisible. And then the frustration and resentment builds up inside of us because it's like we're not being seen. And the not being seen has us feel marginalized, set aside, not respected, not appreciated. So I'll go into all of that when it comes to the invisible experience for some of us codependents. So please like or subscribe to my channel. Please leave some comments if this is something that you have any questions about or that you relate to or have any alternate ideas. Please feel free to share. And all right, thanks for watching. Here we go. This invisibility thing with codependence can be really, really tricky because we may feel like we're not being heard, even though we are saying a lot. We're talking, and we still feel like you're not hearing us. And very often, the reason why that is because we codependents are speaking from any one of the three tenets of conscious codependence. So my three tenets, again, are the want to be wanted, the need to be needed, and or the need to prove oneself. So for a codependent, it's important for us to note that most likely if you are speaking because you want to be wanted, you need to be needed, or you need to prove yourself, most likely it's hard to hear you. This is really, really important for us codependents to get this. It's hard to hear you if you're people-pleasing, if you are proving something about yourself, if you are trying to hold on to somebody because you want them to want you, if you're trying to serve and support them and take care of them because you need them to need you, and you feel like you are really obvious and talking a lot and you're still not being heard, likely it's because you are coming from one of my three tenets, one or more of my three tenets of conscious codependence. Another thing about being invisible, for those of us who are maybe a bit more quiet codependents, where we're not very talkative, we're quiet, we are reserved, and we don't feel understood or gotten, or people should just get us, or they should just sense from the look on my face how I feel. And so when we go quiet, then it's also hard to hear us and hard to sense us because it's hard for someone to enter into our sort of matrix when we're quiet and reserved and closed off. So what I'm pointing to in both of these examples is that perhaps when a codependent, myself included, doesn't feel heard or understood or listened to, or we feel invisible, our desires and our experience and our feelings might not be as obvious as we think that they are to the other person. Especially if what we're saying, coming from one or more of the three tenets, or the energy we're giving off, or the facial expression we're giving, is actually something that is repelling. It's actually pushing somebody away. It's not actually welcoming love and connection. Oftentimes, for a codependent, when we look to another person for the source of the disconnection, we are overlooking how we may be the source of the disconnection. And I'm not saying that it's always our fault, but one of the habits of codependence is we look to other people to point out to them what they're doing wrong, what they should be doing, what they shouldn't be doing, how they should be fixing their situation and doing things better or doing things in a healthy way. We are so consistently looking into somebody else's world that we are overlooking ourselves. And this is the biggest sort of piece of this topic, codependents are invisible. Because ultimately, it's not that we're invisible to other people. We are invisible to ourselves. The disconnection starts here with us. The invisibility also starts here with us. And what I mean by that is the more we are in any one of the three tenets, the want to be wanted, the need to be needed, the need to prove oneself, the more we are over there in another person's mind, interpreting what's going on for them, taking what they're saying personally, reconfiguring what they're saying to mean something about us, or reconfiguring what they're saying to give us, interpreting it in a way where we now have a job, where we have to take care of them, right? We are so out there with them that we are actually not noticing our own experience. When we think they're not listening to us, likely you're not listening to yourself. They don't understand me, likely I'm not understanding myself. They are not seeing me or honoring myself, likely I'm not seeing myself or honoring myself. Underneath us codependents looking and pointing to another person, the reason why we're doing that is because something's going on over here with us. What somebody is doing might not objectively be wrong, but it's wrong to us because we're having some sort of an experience where we don't feel safe, or we feel confused, or we feel disconnected. And that is the thing that's happening over here with us that has us jump out of ourselves and point over to the other person. So ultimately, most of the time, the codependent is invisible to their self. And fundamentally, well, for a lot of us codependents, we don't have a self. We either, one, disassociated from ourself, or at times we disassociate from ourselves. And for some of us, and I was in this category, I didn't have a self. I didn't have a self to go, self, how do I feel? And where is this feeling located in my body? And what am I thinking? And what am I interpreting? And what am I sensing? So, and that's a super quick, zippy overview of my Conscious Codependence TSC practice, where we continually notice our thoughts, our sensations, and emotions so we can locate ourselves and our experience in any given moment. And some of us, myself included, earlier on in my codependence recovery, I didn't have a self. Everything was about everybody else because I couldn't locate what in the world was going on over here. And if I could locate what was going on with me, notice some sort of feeling or emotion, that feeling or emotion was definitely somebody else's fault. So as soon as I would feel something, I would become invisible to myself by pointing at somebody else for the reason why I'm having that experience. And that immediately just kicks in and starts the codependent cycle. Because if what I'm feeling is your fault, now since it's your fault, I have to prove to you it's your fault. I have to maintain this connection so you don't abandon me. I have to maintain the want to be wanted. So now you don't abandon me, you stay, and I can explain to you how and why what I'm feeling is your fault. So this invisibility thing keeps us hooked into other people. It keeps us hooked out of ourselves. It keeps us absent from ourselves and hooked into and holding on to other people. So the number one person for you and I to hear us, to notice us, to appreciate us, to understand the multi-layers of dimensions that's going on inside of us, is ourself. The number one most important relationship is you with yourself and me with myself. So, yeah, that's all on that topic. And I have a Black Friday sale going for phase 1 of Conscious Codependence Recovery. And phase 1 is all about how do we listen to ourselves? And first and foremost, how do we become a self to listen to? All right. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Friday, happy healing, and life is now.